Yes, indeed, folks. We don't have the time to mess about because I'm trying to cram in 15 minutes of extra content in an hour-and-a-half show. Yes, I'm doing the impossible. I'm bending time. I need to drop in for that. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Bending time!
No, I'm not actually bending. I'm bending time. It's not bending time. It's bending... Never mind. Anyway, this is Blue Please on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Now, I have a contest for you. I'd like to give you things. Yes, I would. And no, not that. Something else, something nicer. Now, you might be aware that the Blizzard Authenticator came out a little while ago, and it's since been nigh on impossible to get a hold of. Now, we have been given not one, but not two, but three of these authenticators to give away. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make the contest nice and simple. It's not going to be anything complicated. As I know, taxing the brain, not so good. So, yeah, 3 authenticators, and we're going to do a random prize draw. And anybody who wants to enter needs to do only one very simple thing. Yes, indeed. In a same shameless piece of self-promotion, I would like you to go to iTunes and write a review for one of our shows. Make it honest. I don't want you to go, oh, look, 5 stars, this will get me a prize. No, I want it to be honest. I want you to go and review any one of our shows. Anyone you like, go and review on iTunes. And we're going to be announcing the winners of the prize draw on next week's Blue Please. Yes, indeed. Next week's Blue Please, we'll be announcing the winners of the prize draw. So you've got a week to go and put a review down for one of your shows, your favourite or your least favourite, and be honest. We don't want you coming along and saying, hey, this show is awesome, when it's not. We need to know your feedback, otherwise how are we going to improve? We don't get easily offended, so by all means, constructive criticism if you want to do it, praise if you want to do it, preferably a mixture of the two in the most honest way imaginable. So yes, 3 Blizzard Authenticators to give away, and it will be a random prize draw to anyone who this week drops an iTunes review for one of our shows. Okay, if you want to do an iTunes review and you don't have iTunes, well, download iTunes, look for WoW Radio, it's really not that hard. Now, content. We're done with that, so let's get on to some content. First topic this week is this. Vehicles in Wrath of the Lich King. Trucks in World of Warcraft. Yes, indeed. Now, I discovered something rather interesting on the beta server yesterday, which I didn't actually know about. Now, when I first started playing the beta on the level 70 server, I encountered a quest, and that quest was a daily quest, and it involved a flying machine. So, I did this quest, and he got in this flying machine, and he got what appeared to be some kind of pet controls underneath it. So, I was flying around in this flying machine, thinking, hey, this is going to be like a flying mount with weapons or whatever. And it turned out that no, actually, it wasn't a flying mount. It didn't handle like a flying mount. It handled some way, way, way differently. So I was thinking, this is kind of interesting. So I did my research, and I discovered that this was a vehicle. And it didn't actually count as a mount. It was different. It was actually a vehicle, and the vehicle could be given handling characteristics, and the vehicle could be given a wide variety of different abilities. So I'm like, that's kind of nifty. And I didn't really think about it too much after that, because I went to play on the level 80 server. Now, yesterday, they brought in the motorbike mounts. Now, they are called Da Chopper, or Da Hog, I can't actually remember which. But yeah, you actually get an achievement if you get one of this called Get to Da Chopper. It's like, great! Yeah. Could you have any more pop culture references? Seriously? Why don't you just release Arnold Schwarzenegger the MMO? Seriously. Should put some Firefly references in there, just to make it good. Now, obviously there was a bunch of people trying to get these things. You could buy them for like 5 gold from a vendor. I assume this is just a testing thing, that you can't actually get a bike for 5 gold from a vendor. But these things looked amazing, so I decided, hey, maybe someone's bought some extras and I'll ask around. So someone was advertising in the trade channel saying, beat the queue, go and get one of these from me. And I said, okay, fair enough. So I go to the bank in Dalaran, not Darnassus. No one goes to Darnassus. I went to the bank in Dalaran, and I spoke to this guy and got my hog mount, my motorbike. So I got on my motorbike, it's my gnome, and I was driving around like, yeah, this is awesome. And bouncing around the place and everything. And apparently, and this is really, really cool, you can actually get a passenger in there as well. If you're in a group and someone clicks on your bike, it pops out a little sidecar and they can ride around in it. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Now, the thing is, it took me a little while to realise that this was not actually a mount. True, it's not actually a mount. It acts like a mount, but it isn't a mount. It's actually a vehicle. It's a personal use vehicle that acts like a mount. Now, you might ask me, Total Biscuit, what is the difference? Well, for one thing, you saw that pet bar. That pet bar actually appears on the screen. It only had one command, and that was dismount. But yes, it had a pet bar. The most important thing, and this has wide-ranging implications, and I don't know if you guys really understand just how much possible change this could actually bring to WoW. These things are individual entities. Yeah. They're individual entities that you ride on. They can be selected, and they have their own HP. Yeah? This is kind of crazy. It's like a pet that you ride on. So, you've got a vehicle. If you click on the vehicle, just, say you were riding around on a Kodo, and you clicked on the Kodo, well, obviously in the normal World of Warcraft, it's going to select the Tauren. In this, not so much. That's not actually how it works. You click on the vehicle, it selects the vehicle, and the vehicle has its own health bar. Indeed, the motorcycle has 5.8k HP. I'm like, oh, interesting. And indeed, that's how you can get people mounted. They didn't change the mounting system, they just introduced an entirely new kind of mount. A mount that wasn't a mount that was a vehicle. So any of the passenger mounts, the multi-passenger mounts, actually seem to act like vehicles. They don't act like mounts at all. And indeed, they've actually brought in a couple of other mounts, particularly one that impressed me in its innovation, and that is the Caravan Mammoth. And what it does is, it's this giant mammoth, and it can hold up to 4 people. Counts as a vehicle, you can hold up to 4 people, and it's got a little vendor on the back. It actually has a vendor on the back of it. And on the back, it's actually got a reagent vendor. You can buy reagents from it. And this thing's going to cost 14,000 gold. I mean, crazy, 14,000 gold. But I've seen a couple of people on the beta server with them because they made 3 pre-mades and pooled all the money. Smart move, guys. And we got to play around with it, and it was cool. But again, this, in my opinion, opens up a huge range of possibilities. It really does. Think about it. Let's go back to the example that I made earlier of the flying machine in the quest. Now, that flying machine had 2 weapons. It had machine guns, and it had rocket launchers. Now, think about it this way. What if that was not the only place where you could use these? And indeed, what if Wintergrass wasn't the only place you could use these? What if you could get your own personal fighting vehicle? Now, what would that do? You might think, well, that's a little bit of a gimmick, but think about it. What about if you were able to get your own personal fighting vehicle, and the actual combat that you did in said vehicle was an entirely different feel to WoW? It's like mounted combat. We've always kind of thought about mounted combat as a possibility for WoW, because mounts have always been a big feature of WoW ever since 40, and they're bringing all these different mounts to appease people. But let's face it, mounts are nothing more than a slightly different skin. It's a modified skin. Effectively, they're putting a horse under you, and you're moving at a slightly enhanced speed. It's not an entity as such, it's a spell. And indeed, mounts are spells. So, you've got to look at it and think, well, okay, what if mounts weren't spells at all? What if mounts were actually physical entities within the world that could themselves be hurt? So think about it this way. What about if you could get personal flying machines, and you could actually have an air battle? And you could have this air battle pretty much wherever, and there was actually PvP air combat. And indeed, there were flying mobs so high that you couldn't attack them with normal weapons, and you had to get into your flying machine, or whatever, and you could use that. And indeed, you could have various different variants. You could look at it and say, well, okay, what kind of flying creatures are there in WoW? Well, there's a variety of different flying machines. You've got Goblin Zeppelins, Mini Goblin Zeppelins, the death machine things that you saw in Area 52. You've got, let's see what else. You've got, of course, gyrocopters. You've got the little planes. There's all sorts of different things that they could possibly come up with. And it seems to me that this would be a really good way to go. Now, the thing is, you wouldn't have to just do this in the air either, although it would be kind of funny. The idea of doing it in the air would be this. If you actually fought in the air with aerial combat, you actually did damage to the mount. And if you destroyed the mount would explode and, of course, drop the person from it. And there is actually a parachute system in place. It's not a slow fall as such. It's kind of like a different spell entirely. It's a parachute system built into the flying machine in the level 70 quest that you do over in Howling Field. So, you could put the parachute in there as well. Or you could have parachute be an optional extra, something that you have to buy, and if you don't buy a parachute, you get shot down in midair, you fall to your death. It's the kind of thing that you've seen it happen before with people that jump off their flying mounts in the middle of nowhere, and they drop down and try and cast spells on people as they fly past. It's like that. It's like taking that to a whole new level, but you don't just have to do that. What about if we then took that concept and applied it to ground warfare? What about actual steam tanks? Steam tanks, all that kind of thing. Well, this is what we're actually going to be seeing in Lake Wintergrass. But what if we saw it outside of Lake Wintergrass? What if? What if we had our mounts that actually, could be upgraded with weapons? And you might think, hey, is that a good idea? Is it not? Well, you know what? I think at this point, anything that actually innovates mounted combat that way is a very cool idea, and it's, as far as I know, not been done at least not particularly well in any other MMO. So that would be a nice brand new feature to bring into the game. Mounted combat, why not? Maybe change the mounts over, or at least give additional mounts that were like actual battle mounts, for instance. And instead of riding a Kodo, you're riding a battle Kodo, and it has various features. Those drums on the side of the Kodo, well, why not make them actually work for an AoE buff? Why not allow the battle Kodo to bite other people? Why not use it as some kind of mounted combat kind of thing? And why stop there? What about naval warfare? What about naval transport? What about the ability to sail the seas on your own little boat? Multi-crew boat. Think about it. How awesome would this be? Guild boats. Think about that. Or just party or raid boats of various sizes, and you could go between the continents on them. So you'd have to obviously add an actual sea section in the middle, which is, that's fine. Flat sea, maybe with some hazards and a few random islands. Have them all mount up on the boat. You've got your captain who steers it, and then everyone else is on the cannons. And there you go, you got a boat. There's games that have done this before. They're not MMOs, but stuff like Battlefield 2, and particularly Battlefield 1942, where you could all control different areas of a naval vessel. Why not? Tell me why not. Obviously, they now have the system for it, because it's in there as a kind of vehicle combat, and vehicles that have weapons, and vehicles that are now counted as separate entities that can be damaged. Why not? Why not bring in naval warfare? Why not just go nuts? Use this content to the absolute best of your ability. Don't just confine it to Wintergrasp. Don't just put it in one PvP zone. That's a gimmick. It's the same as putting it in that quest. In Howling Fjord, if you try and fly that flying machine out of the radius of the quest, you aren't able to keep flying it. It stops. Yeah, it's like you are out of range of the quest. It stops. You have to go back. Well, great. What about if it didn't? What about if those vehicles actually became part of the game? What about, you could upgrade your mount to a battle mount, and you could have all of this mounted combat? Entirely new dynamic there to world PvP. And indeed, entirely new dynamic to questing. Why quest when you can quest in a tank? Why not? All of this possible content here, you could add huge swathes of content there in the middle of the maelstrom, or in the middle of the sea, and all of this ocean combat that you can access via boat. Screw swimming, boat, and you could have herds of aquatic form druids kind of flying along beside your boat. That would be great. A little dolphin form, why not? Attach limpet mines to the enemy things. Now, the kind of point that I'm trying to make here is that this is a feature that has so far not received much attention. People have been concentrating on, Death Knights, Lake Wintergrasp, level 80, barbershops for some ridiculous reason. And yet they've just put vehicles into the game, so there's something that could be the biggest change ever, and barely anyone's paying any attention. Lord, do people really want more of the same? I think they do. And I think that's why WoW continues to be successful. People like things that are safe. But you know what? I like Blizzard to take that concept and expand it to the point where WoW genuinely has something really cool that is brand new and nobody's really seen before. And would have worked in Star Wars Galaxies had it not been a really terrible game. It's like the Jump to Lightspeed expansion in Star Wars Galaxies. The idea was you could engage in combat with your ship and all that kind of thing. Well, why not if you could engage in combat with a boat, or a ship, or a tank, or a flying machine, and this could be a part of the game? I'm up for it. I'd like to see it. Wouldn't you? If you've got any opinions on this, feel free to email themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. I got some Nubcake news for you. I'm going to be right back after this. And, of course, another track from the one and only Captain D. My name is Top Biscuit. This is Blue Please, wanting my naval combat in WoW. This is Nubcake News. Enjoy.
Live from the Blue Please Tower in Howling Fjord, it's Nubcake News with award-winning anchor Total Biscuit, bringing you all the news that matters, whether you realize it or not. Welcome to Nubcake News. I am Total Biscuit, and this is a thinly veiled reference to my huge salami. Should go nice with a little garlic butter and some thick, crusty bread. In the news this week, Nubcake News is pleased to announce that it has secured exclusive information on the upcoming announcement at BlizzCon 2008. For the past few months, Blizzard has been strangely silent as to what its big announcement could possibly be. Having announced Diablo 3 at WWI and the Lost Vikings TCG and coloring book at Gen Con, it seems there are really no franchises left to milk. Our researchers concluded that only one possibility remains. Blizzard intend to create new IP. Joining us now is Commissar Folklore, of the Angry Marines chapter, who has been monitoring the researchers' activities. Commissar? New IP, heresy! Innovation, heresy! Jaywalking, heresy!
Thanks, Commissar. It would appear that we won't be needing to pay their salaries after all. Since we now know that it couldn't possibly be a new piece of intellectual property, we must return to the possibility that Blizzard intends to reuse an old franchise. Unable to fathom what it could be, we have tapped the vast resources of Nubcake News to send a highly trained undercover operative to Blizzard HQ. We go to him now for a special live report inside Blizzard HQ. Solid Biscuit, can you hear me? Sorry, Solid, we appear to be having issues hearing you. Perhaps you might want to get out from under that cover. Seriously, if you've left the stealth microphone outside of your cardboard box, you won't be getting your Christmas bonus. Yes. Can you hear me now, TB? Finally, yes. Can you give us a status update? Well, TB, I'm inside Blizzard HQ, where I'm attempting to infiltrate their top-secret testing lab, where I'm reliably informed they are keeping their secret BlizzCon announcement. There are several levels of security between myself and the lab. The first is a series of guards who I intend to sneak past by disguising myself as Fangtooth. And how exactly do you intend to do that? Well, I have this costume which consists of a pile of live kittens. I feel this will accurately reflect the appearance and mannerisms of the once legendary CM. I'm coming up to the first checkpoint now. Mr. Fangtooth, pleasure to have you with us again. Going to see Mr. Morhaime? Meow, 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 meow. Very good, sir. Just go on through. Second elevator on the right. Success! I have passed the first checkpoint. Now all I need to do is discard these kittens and move to the elevator to reach level 2. Please tell me this isn't going to be a new rogue mechanic. What? No. Damn it. The glue is probably a bit much. How else was I supposed to get them to stay put? Your techniques are truly astounding. Thank you, TB. He has picked this one up in Korea while battling inflatable aardvark, a deadly new weapon of war that was threatening the sovereignty of our great nation. They really called it that? Yeah, funny thing. I thought it was a bit tame, too. I'm glad we share the same perspective on life. Perhaps you, too, can one day be a stealth action hero. Quite. It sounds like you've reached the second floor. What do you see? Well, yes, it appears to be some kind of coded lock. 6 digits. There's instructions here. It says, use your authenticator. Well, goddamn, nobody has those. Oh, look, a direct line to customer service. Let's see. Yes, my account name is SexyDude69. Why, yes, I do live there. Favorite color? Puce? No, not puce. How about yellow? Green? Blue? Yes, blue. You know how it is. So easy to forget these things. Oh, you'll open the door now? Great. Thanks a lot. Why, yes, I am enjoying playing World of Warcraft. Thank you. That's all you did? No super secret hacking tools? No micro-explosives? Not even a basic lockpick? Oh, TB, you have a lot to learn about infiltration. Leave it to the pros, eh? Yes, I think I'll stick to broadcasting. Okay, I'm coming up on level 3, the final system before the lab. Good lord, it appears to be a test of basic social skills. Those diabolic fiends! There's no way I'll be able to get through here. This calls for desperate action. Commissar, now! Heresy! Was that absolutely necessary? Well, how else would you suggest I get past such an impenetrable defense system, huh? Mr. Expert, think you know better? Well, why don't you get in your cardboard box and come down here? We'll settle this mano a mano. No, that's fine. I have complete confidence in your abilities. So you should, ingrate. Finally, the lab's in sight. Funny, it doesn't have the kind of labels you'd expect. And what kind of labels would you actually expect? Well, something like top secret lab, ultra-hidden research bunker, convenient volcano island. All it says is Wrath of the Lich King vehicle testing. Well, that's no secret. We know about that already. Why don't you take a peek inside? Okay, I'm going in. Good lord. It can't be. I wish you could see this. It appears Blizzard have done the unthinkable. What? Tell us, damn it! It's rock and roll racing? They put rock and roll racing into World of Warcraft? There's a bunch of test subjects here, wired up to computer systems. They're all driving around Azeroth in tiny cars. All the phone music's been changed to MIDI covers of 80s metal tracks. They're running down nubs in the Barrens and laughing. Oh God, it's horrible. I should have known the vehicle system was only a front. This was it. This was their master plan all along. Hoodwink us for 4 years and then, when we least expected, bam! Rock and roll racing. This isn't World of Warcraft at all. This has all been a conspiracy. Hook us in, and when we're at our most...
Infiltrator spotted. Security, terminate the intruder.
Oh Lord, I've been spotted. I've got to get out of here.
Too late, sucker. Take the corpse to Patchwork. He's fraying again. What about this cardboard box he was dragging behind him? Looks like it's got a microphone attached to it.
No, can't be right. No, nobody would be that stupid. Must be a decoy. No, we'll deal with it later. Get that corpse out of here. Yes, up.
Now, back to testing. Kungan, please give us your feedback on these latest changes.
Kungan needs no helmet. Kungan drives all. Vroom.
Good Lord, the humanity. I'm leaving the studio right now to hide. This is terrible. This is horrible. This is the worst thing to ever happen. This has been Nubcake News. Good night.